The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Salem Media of Hawaii.
Welcome to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Mijuskovic.
Marko Mijuskovic is registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities LLC, 7 Hanover Square, New York, 10004, and at Wealth Strategy Partners, 677 Ala Moana Boulevard, Suite 720, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. This show is for informational purposes only. Individual risk tolerance and investment objectives must be reviewed prior to making any specific recommendations.
And now your host, Marko Mijuskovic.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Mijuskovic, Senior Partner at Wealth Strategy Partners, also Certified Exit Planner, and you are listening weekly radio show Hawaii Money Resource with me as a host. And what we do over here every week, we talk business. We talk to the business owners, entrepreneurs, and when we do not have a guest in our studio, we talk about how to prepare your business so one day you can successfully retire, get out of the business, sell that business on your own terms to whoever you want. Hawaii Money Resource has been around since 2011, and I would like to remind you that the website that you should go and check us all out, what we do and how we do it, is businessexitplanninghawaii.com, businessexitplanninghawaii.com. Our Hawaii Money Resource website is currently getting a facelift, so we put it down just for temporarily until we get all the brand new, fresh look. We are also planning to integrate with our sister radio shows on the mainland. There will be 4 of us, all called Money Resource. So something more to talk about it once the stuff is live. For now, today we have a guest, a good friend of mine for a long time, Terry Revere. Terry is the attorney at Revere and Associates, located right here in Honolulu. You can find him at 791-9557. Terry, welcome to Hawaii Money Resource.
Thanks for having me.
I think we started talking about you coming on radio 2 years ago, and every time we see each other is on the party, and we after a few beers we said, okay, we need to do this radio show, and finally we got it done, right?
We're both busy guys.
Busy people, I understand that. So welcome to Hawaii Money Resource. I know it's going to be a very interesting show. Why? Because you're going to tell us all the good stuff, what's going on out there in the legal world in Hawaii, and I know there's a lot of stuff in the past and there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So Terry, before we talk about you personally, why don't you give me 30 seconds spiel? What is it that your legal firm do?
We do civil litigation mostly, and most of the litigation that we do involves some aspect of condominiums and community associations, either representing an association if they're having a fight with their developer, or representing owners if they've got a problem with their board, and pretty much all aspects of condominiums and community associations.
How interesting is that?
It's a lot. It's more interesting than you would think, because when I first started doing this, I thought this was going to be duller than dust, but each of these condos is like a little city, and some of them have action straight out of Game of Thrones, absent the dragons, but everything else.
Oh, there you go. So Terry, you're pretty entertaining. Did you do any show business before?
No, just high school plays, college plays, things like that.
Yeah, I was thinking you were going to say you do a lot of play in front of the judge in a courtroom.
There's a lot of that. I've been accused of that, but I deny it. So
it depends, right?
That's right.
Perfect. Terry, before we talk about business, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself personally? Who are you?
Who am I? That's the eternal question for all of us, isn't it? No, I'm from New York originally, upstate. Very small town, more cows than people. I moved to Hawaii when I was 18 to go to Chaminade, and I liked it and stayed on here, and I went back for a couple Christmases and decided I really didn't want to be in upstate New York in the winter anymore, and stayed on 4 years at Chaminade, and then I went to UH Law School and worked at the Hawaii Supreme Court and then in some private firms, and So I've been
everything
here
else
since
is a
18,
history.
And everything else is history. That's right.
So it's pretty interesting. I guess the weather was the determining factor for you to stay in Hawaii. Am I right?
It certainly didn't hurt. So, yeah.
Terry, when you are pretty much you're a business person too, right? Even though your industry is legal industry, you're a business owner because you're running your own show. You have a people that you're managing and so on and so forth. And by saying that, you have a multiple hat that you're wearing. Plus, you have a personal life.
Allegedly, that is true.
Right. And so how do you balance your personal life with your busy schedule? Because most of the time you work on someone else's time frames, not yours. Right.
Well, according to some, I don't balance it that well. But, I think what helps is you have a lot of people at home and a lot of people inside the business as well as outside business advisors that keep you on track. That certainly helps. I've got 2 little kids, so that obviously their needs and things they want to be doing controls a lot of the free time. But I think you just like anything else, is I tell pretty much everyone, put it on my calendar, and I'm a slave to that calendar. If it says this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing at that time. So a calendar is extremely, extremely important to have.
How many calendars do you have?
I did have multiple, but that is a major problem. So I've got it down to 1 that everybody uses for personal, business, and everything else. Yeah.
Perfect. What do you do for fun?
I like to work and then work some more. No, I like to do the same. Well, when you have little kids, you're really I don't have to tell you, but your time gets kind of dictated a lot by them. But if it's not kid-related, not work-related, then obviously I like spending time with my lovely wife, who should be listening to this right now, but I'm not sure she is.
It's okay. You mentioned her, so she's probably happy you're going to score some points. That's all what matters.
I can only hope. But, basically, I like to, I'm into football, I'm into poker, going boogie boarding, going to the beach, reading, board games, pretty much any type of games I'm pretty much down for.
Perfect. Is there any hobbies that not so many people know about it?
Well, I've been told that I'm the palest person in Hawaii, but I really do like going to the beach a lot. But since I've had skin cancer, it's mostly in the shade under a book, then in the water, then back into the shade. So
that's how you keep yourself pale.
That's right. That's how I keep myself as pale and creamy as possible.
Is it fun when you go somewhere and people ask you where you're from and say you're from Hawaii, and they look at you kind of weirdly, like expecting to see like a dark-skinned person,
yes,
and you're so pale.
Yes, and then I show them all of my cancer scars, and they're like, "Okay, I get it. You're an Irish guy in the tropics, so you have to stay out of the sun." But
well, at least it's better than upstate New York.
It is better than that. That's for sure. The beaches are slightly better than frozen ponds and lakes. So
perfect. Terry, we're going to take a quick break. This is our first break. I appreciate you sharing a little bit about yourself, like a little bit more than we expected. Sharing your medical history, that's all good. I guess we're all natural over here. We like to be, full disclosure. Terry, we're going to take a quick break. Once we come back from the break, we're going to go down the memory lane and see how this all started, what happened, like who tricked you to go in law. Meanwhile, everybody else out there, you're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. Today's guest is Terry Revere. Terry runs his own company, a legal company, Revere and Associates. I think the best way to find you is revereandassociates.com, right?
Pretty much, yep.
Okay, perfect. My name is Marko Mijuskovic. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
.760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right. the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
If you're a CPAP user, soap and water cleaning may leave harmful bacteria, viruses, and mold that can make you sick. That alone will keep you up at night. Until now, SoClean.com is the world's first and only automated, hands-free CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. SoClean kills 99.9% of all CPAP germs without soap, water, harsh chemicals, or even equipment disassembly. And now, you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Call 1-800-760-2320.
SoClean changed the CPAP experience for the better. My health has improved. It's simple to use, and I'm not worried about infections.
SoClean's revolutionary design makes it easy to clean your CPAP and protect you against CPAP-related illnesses. Plus, SoClean works with all popular CPAP devices to clean them in minutes. It really is that easy. Don't risk your health. Call SoClean.com now to try it risk-free for 30 days. Call 1-800-760-2320. This offer won't last. Call now. 800-760-2320. 800-760-2320.
You're listening to Marko Mijuskovic on AM 760. More than 4,000 other listeners tune in daily to hear Marko talk about investment strategies and his new area of expertise, business exit planning. If you're ready to take it to the next level, Mr. Mijuskovic invites you to attend one of his complimentary seminars. Each month, he offers a seminar for business owners interested in business exit planning. For everybody else, he offers a second seminar on investment strategies. Either way, you'll get such a wealth of information that I'm going to attend one right now. For information on how you can attend, visit HawaiiMoneyResource.com. The lawyers can take it from here.
Registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, PAS, OSJ 7 Hanover Square, New York, 10004, 1-888-600-4667. Securities products and advisory services offered through PAS member FINRA SIPC, financial representative of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. PAS is an indirect wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Wealth Strategy Partners, LLC is not an affiliate or subsidiary of PAS or Guardian. 2014-16224, expiration 1/2017.
You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Mijuskovic. If you'd like to speak to Marko, either on the air or after the show, call toll-free from Oahu and the Outer Islands, 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Mijuskovic, Senior Partner at Wealth Strategy Partners, also Certified Exit Planner. Don't forget to check us online at businessexitplanninghawaii.com, businessexitplanninghawaii.com. Everything that you should know about a business exit planning is there. There's a lot of resources. You can download the podcast from our radio show, as well as you can see our most recent events. They are recorded, so if you missed the previous events that we just did recently with our Business Exit Planning Advisory Board, you can actually watch the whole show, whole workshop online on our website, and pretty much without paying a dime, right, for complimentary to you. Hopefully you learned something. Meanwhile, let me go back to our guest today, Terry Revere. Terry is the attorney at law. He also runs his own business, Revere and Associates. The best way to reach them is revereandassociates.com. So Terry, you are civil litigation, that's what you said, and most of the work is in the sphere of real estate, condominium associations, everybody suing each other because there's all kind of stuff going on in that world. But did you ended up where you are right now from the get-go, or it was a progression?
Yeah, it was kind of a progression that had to do with the firm and who the bosses were of my old firm. A couple of the guys specialized in litigation, mostly representing, or should I say, being appointed by insurance companies to represent people in auto accidents or business disputes or what have you. And we also had a partner who was a condominium specialist who's not a litigator. And so the two sort of naturally merged together, where one guy's has a lot of condominium clients, the other partners were litigators, and so I sort of grew out of that environment of having both of those influences.
So I guess after you finished and you graduated from the school? Because you said you went to Chaminade and then from Chaminade to UH and you graduated. So I guess you were working for someone else first.
Yeah, well, when I first got out of, during law school, traditionally most lawyers will work for a firm over the summer after their first or second year or both. And I did that, and then after I graduated, I worked for one of the justices on the Hawaii Supreme Court as a law clerk for a year, and which was very interesting. And then after that year, I went to my old firm where we did that stuff. Yeah.
So you say it was interesting working for as a clerk for a Supreme Justice. Why?
Well, when you're 25 years old, it's very, very interesting to be working with the 5 people that decide the laws for the entire state of Hawaii, and you get a wide variety of issues. You get people appealing their criminal convictions. Will be one case that you could be working on in the morning, and the next, in the afternoon, you're working on a multi-million-dollar business dispute. Then the next day, it's a civil rights issue. The day after that, there'll be, really complicated medical case. So it's a big variety, because everything ultimately gets channeled up to the Hawaii Supreme Court, and they've got to decide on a wide variety of issues, all of which have to be researched, all of which they're usually pretty intense issues with good points on either side. And, you're a 25-year-old, usually kid, just out of law school, and, the parties invested a lot of time, money, expense for a year, so it can be, if you take the job seriously, and I think everybody does, there's really important decisions to be made, so you want to be really careful for the justice that you're working for to make sure you get it straight. I mean, that one side or the other, or perhaps both, aren't going to be happy. So you need
to be neutral, right?
You got to be neutral.
Or the consequences can be huge.
You got to be very neutral and very careful, and then you pass on your work to the justice who ultimately has to make the call with the other 4. So yeah, it was very, very interesting, and it's a good way to start as a lawyer, because you can see really good writing and really bad writing, and you can see mistakes that were made and good points that were made. So it's a really, really valuable experience.
I have 2 questions for you.
Sure.
First of all, why law?
Why law?
What got you? Because it's not a sexiest job that you can get.
There's a sexier job, because I'm not aware of a sexier job. Why law? Well, I think depending on who you ask. I mean, my mother was telling me to be a lawyer from the time I was 4 years old, because I was
objecting a lot.
Objecting a lot to the lima beans or whatever was trying to be forced on me at the time. I was a communications major. I hoped one day that maybe I could be in a radio station just like this one. But so I started off as a communications major and government. I was always interested in government history, etc. And through one of my friends who was also a government major at Chaminade, he was older than me, and he was studying for the LSAT. And so just as a joke, he said, well, why don't you do the LSAT's the law school admissions test. And he asked me to do one of the tests just as for fun or whatever, and I did, and it seemed interesting, so I really got into it. And then I got into law school and realized it was nothing at all like the law school admissions test.
It's completely different.
It's completely different. But anyway, that kind of got me interested. And also, as a government major, I studied a lot of the Eastern European and Soviet communist systems. And by the time I was graduating, they were all falling apart. So I'm like, well, there's some useless knowledge that I accumulated.
Right, they're gone. They're obsolete now. So what did you figure out when it comes to that neck of wood?
I've learned a lot, but so those governments were falling apart, and so and law is something I was always in the back of my head. And once I took those tests, I thought that was kind of a fun thing to do, and I was interested in communications, interested in history, interested in government. So that's how I.
It was a pretty good mix.
It was a good mix.
Pretty good mix. And let me ask you the second question is, how much common sense is there in law?
I think that there's more than people think, because, the things that will make the news are crazy things that, are like, as the saying goes, when a dog bites a man, that's not a story, but if a man bites a dog, that's a story. So there's a lot of things that do make tons of sense in the law that happens every day, but it's almost invisible. Like, we have a 55 mile per hour speed limit. Why? Well, it saves lives, it saves gas. There's, reasons for it. It's not just some arbitrary thing that's thrown out there. But there is a lot of common sense. I think that a lot of times lawyers forget that when they're talking to juries that the juries aren't experienced with this, but they have more common sense than most of us as lawyers do, and they're going to decide things based upon who their gut and their brain tell them is right and wrong. So I guess
there is still some common sense.
There's still some common sense. I mean, you can get into any, esoteric, weird areas like the tax code, et cetera, or the bankruptcy code, that you have to basically hire specialists because there's lots of arcane things. There's also lobbyists get involved in legislation that kind of skew things in ways that don't make any sense until you look back at the legislative history. It might make a little bit more sense, or pressure from certain lobbying groups. Then the common sense starts going out the window.
So there is a lot of interest as well that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, if you really want to understand why a particular statute reads a particular way, sure. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, and good, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Another thing is, like, in which point, like, you did your clerical work, and then you went back to your original firm, and then in which point you said, okay, I think I can do this better. And you kind of move up or move on, and you decide, I'm going to do this on my own, and why? I usually ask differently. I ask who pissed you off, but today I'm going to ask you nicely.
Oh, no, please ask. Please. Well, first of all, as you're a young attorney, at least me, and I think almost everyone else, if they're honest with themselves, unless they're crazy, they would never feel that cocky or arrogant walking around, because everyone's older than you, everyone's more experienced than you. So certainly not for at least a few years would, I think, almost all attorneys feel like, I can do this better than, step aside, old man, I can do this better than you. I don't think that happens very often. But after a while, you will realize by just doing stuff that, hey, I can research as well as anyone else. Certainly, I think younger attorneys actually research things better than older attorneys, for sure. I think that they can write just as well if they work at it. But I think most attorneys don't walk around and arrogantly think, if they're less than 5 years experience, that they can do anything better than more experienced people.
So the experience is very important, like in any other work.
Absolutely. And you'll just have there'll be certain things that make complete and total sense from a logical view of you as the advocate for your client. But when you have tried to do what you think is the logical thing several times and it never works, I mean, it's almost like the scientific method. Like, well, I've got this hypothesis as to how this thing should go, and then it doesn't work,
try something else.
You better try something else.
Okay, so still my question is, like, at which point you decided to go on your own?
Oh, as far as, founding my own firm?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically, a lot of what...
Because it's also a business decision. It's not just like I can do my trade better than someone else, but it's also, you need to pay your own bills now, you need to hire people, all that business aspect.
Right. Well, basically, I think, an issue with the old firm was, I think there was a big generation gap between me and my two partners, as well as for lack of a better term, a underdog versus overdog philosophy, where for years I would represent associations and against people that would generally either have no representation, or they would hire attorneys that were friends or relatives that didn't practice in community association law, and frankly, they would just get killed on these cases, and the attorney's fees can be brutal in these association cases. And there would be people that would want us to represent them. We would have arguments with myself and the other partners about whether we should take on these individuals who really needed help and had really legitimate beefs. And at a certain point, it just became obvious that I wanted to do more of that. My partners did not. So I think that was a big factor in me saying, I want to go out on my own. I want to try this. These people need help. They're not getting it. And all the lawyers that are in the condominium industry are all smarter businessmen than me, probably, and they all want to represent the management companies and the insurers for the associations because
that's where the money is.
That's where the money is, as Willie Sutton would say. That's why he robs banks, because that's where the money is. So, and so I wanted to represent owners that I felt were getting the shaft. Abused. There you go. I was about to say another word you can't say on radio, but and so I wanted to try it on my own, and that's why we're just a little bit past the 5th year anniversary of the firm. So far, so good.
So when you made that call and you say I'm going to go on my own, like, what did you do? I mean, like let's talk about like a business owner right now. Yes, I'm still an attorney, but I need to register my company.
Yeah, well, remember that scene where Jerry Maguire walked out of the office with like the goldfish? That was pretty,
and a stapler.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. So when we first started the firm, my office manager left the old firm with me. One of the attorneys left the old firm with me, and we would be having office meetings at my dining room table, because when I left, I was actually in the middle of a trial on Maui, and so then we had to sort of scramble and get the office set up. We didn't have an office space yet, so we would be working out of the law library, out of my dining room, out of the coffee shop in Kailua. So it was exciting times. And as I told those two then, we're going to look back and laugh, and this is going to seem like a lot of fun at someday. At the time, it was, of course, stressful, but, I knew that eventually everything was going to be fine.
So, of course, like having a ongoing case at the same time helps, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you've got clients that are, willing to come with you when you leave any business, obviously that's, really helpful in helping you get started and generating income right away versus being a brand new lawyer or going into a completely different field with no clients is not
hard and
fun. Yeah, I think so.
How's the overhead when you started your business?
It was great. I was a very good landlord to me and my dining room table.
Did you charge yourself a rent?
No, I probably should have. But
it was probably tax beneficial.
I'll talk to my financial advisors at WSP if I can still do that. But
going backwards.
But I think that my overhead is still, we try to keep it low. Our office is in Kailua because that's where I live. That's where I wanted to have my office. It's not fancy. It doesn't need to be. I'd rather use that money and spend it on the employees and keeping costs down than having a
fancy office with a lot of how you call him?
Mahogany?
Mahogany.
There you go.
That one, you got me. Terry, thank you. Let's take our next break. Today's guest is Terry Revere and Associates, civil litigation law firm. You can find them online, revereandassociates.com. I think now we're going to get into the interesting part, because we're going to share some of your previous work, if you can share, of course.
I'll change the names to protect the guilty.
Sure, let's do it, because there's a lot of good stuff, and I know there's a lot of good cases that's done by your firm in the last 5 years that probably shake the whole Hawaii, I will say, how call it, condominium association environment or industry or whatever you're calling it. My name is Marko Mijuskovic. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
.760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
Hands can do incredible things. This is the sound of two hands helping to save a life.
It's called Hands-Only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. Hands can do incredible things, but nothing compares to using them to help save a life. For more information on this latest method of CPR, visit handsonlycpr.org today. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Did you know that the average family visits 5 websites before booking a vacation rental? It can take hours, if not days, to book vacation rentals online. This is not the ideal way to start your vacation. Hi, I'm Jen O'Neill.
And I'm Jeff Manheimer.
And we're the founders of Tripping.com, the world's largest site for vacation rentals.
Vacation rentals are the perfect option for families, groups, and even solo travelers. They're more affordable than hotels, offer way more space, and come with perks like free Wi-Fi, parking, fully stocked kitchens, backyards, and hot tubs.
Tripping.com is the fastest and easiest way to book vacation homes. Simply type in your destination and we'll show you all available rentals from VRBO, TripAdvisor, Booking.com, and more. With over 8 million homes to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect place to stay.
Visit Tripping.com today to book rentals in Panama City Beach, San Diego, Gulf Shores, Aspen, and international spots like Barcelona, Montreal, and Bora Bora.
And with our price comparison tool, you'll save an average of 18% per night by booking your vacation rental on Tripping.com.
That's TRIPPING.com.
To book a place to stay, visit Tripping.com today.
Achieving personal financial success can be complicated. Marko Mijuskovic can make it simpler. That's something very good to know in a world where the wrong financial decisions can be all too costly. Marko Mijuskovic, Vice President of Wealth Strategy Partners, has been helping people in Hawaii successfully organize and plan their finances for years. Marko uses an holistic approach to help you balance your current financial obligations as well as your future concerns. And he does this while keeping things simple. Organizing your finances is serious business, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Find out how Marko can help you make smart, informed decisions about your financial future. Call him and schedule your complimentary session and tell him your story. He's there to listen. The toll-free number to call is 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102. 877-695-2102. Marko Mijuskovic. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Mijuskovic. If you'd like to speak to Marko, either on the air or after the show, call toll-free from Oahu and the Outer Islands, 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Mijuskovic, Senior Partner at Wealth Strategy Partners, also Certified Exit Planner. You are listening the best radio show in town, Hawaii Money Resource, every Wednesday night, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., right when you're stuck in traffic driving home somewhere to Eva Beach. You can tune in and listen to our interesting stories of the business owners and entrepreneurs that come to our studio and they share their stories. Not only stories from their trade, but also stories how they're running the business, what they're facing, how they're overcoming the challenges, because regardless of the trade, you are still a business owner. You still need to pay the bills. Today, we have a guest, Terry Revere. Terry is the attorney at law. He is running a company named Revere & Associates. By the way, Terry, why everybody plug their last name? All the CPAs and attorney, they like to plug their last name in the name of the company.
It's probably because they don't.
Is it an ego issue?
I think. Well, it's not. That would be a good hypothesis for most lawyers, but no, it's because it's. I think up until a few years ago, we didn't really have any choice because you couldn't walk around and say AAA, the best law firm in town, Inc., or we kick butt law firm, Inc., even though that would be kind of fun. So it's always been that way for, I think, hundreds of years. If your name's Smith and Jones and you form a partnership, then that's just what happens. But yeah, I think that they wanted to limit how we could advertise.
That's a good answer. I was just worried that you're going to say lack of creativity or whatever, something like that. But okay, good.
That's a very strong possibility as well. So.
By the way, Revere & Associate, located in Kailua, the best way to reach them or see what they do is actually Revere & Associates. Thank you for sharing a little bit about you, how you started, and kitchen table, office. It's important so you remember where you're coming from. And you're probably laughing now when you're talking to your people in your firm, like where you guys started and all that, right?
Yeah, we were laughing then too, but yeah, definitely now.
Perfect. So let's talk about some of the interesting, please repeat one more time what you guys involved and what you guys dealing with. And then we're going to talk about some interesting cases that is happening in this little town over here that people are not really aware of it.
Yeah, well, we do all sorts of litigation, business disputes, regulatory issues, but mostly I think what we're known for is condominium and community associations, trying to resolve those if we can through negotiation, mediation, but litigation if that's what it takes. So, yeah.
So perfect. So you start. You give me a juicy one.
A juicy story. All of the juicy stories are probably protected by confidentiality agreements, or I will otherwise get myself in trouble. But I think, the thing about...
It's a little disclaimer.
Yeah, exactly.
Should I read one from the bottom of the email?
Exactly. I think that the thing to remember about these condos and community associations is that they are like a business and they are like a government, and they do some business activities and they do some government activities. So just like any other business out there or any government out there, anything that can go wrong with a city goes wrong in a condominium. Anything that goes wrong with a business can go wrong with a condominium. And, take your pick of the issues, everything from the roof failing, just like the city's sewers might fail, well, the condo's roof might fail, and that's got to be dealt with, and someone's got to pay for it. And just like businesses, sometimes money gets embezzled. The same thing happens in condominiums where there's a lot of mismanagement. There's a lot of greed. There's a lot of stupidity. And
there's a lot of temptation as well. Like you're looking at all these association, all these management company. I mean, they're dealing with a lot of money potentially.
They certainly are. And there was a famous case a few years ago where someone very high up in the industry was just, embezzling money from her clients, and she's been convicted. It's very unfortunate, but. That's an extreme example, but there's much smaller or less dramatic examples of that type of stuff happening every day, where the board president might have his own pet project and he just jams it through, and with very little dialogue or debate, and it happens. There's lots of problems with bids, not getting 3 bids for major projects.
Favoring individuals, right?
Big time. That happens quite often. And you have to remember the people there's some very, very good board members out there. There are also some very bad ones, and people that plain should never, you wouldn't put them in charge of a lemonade stand that are making multi-million-dollar decisions because their neighbors are all too busy, working 2 jobs, have their kids. So
usually it's the people that have a lot of free time.
There's people that have either a lot of free time, and then there's people on the board that are willing to do it for whatever reason, but are really too busy to pay attention, and so it can cause a lot of mischief for sure. So like I said, anything that goes wrong can go wrong. Also, associations become caught in the middle sometimes between 2 neighbors. I had one case, again, all the names, these people are definitely guilty of everything I'm about to say, but I'm not going to mention their names, but 2 licensed, unbelievably to me, mental health professionals who didn't like each other professionally out in the real world, then God, the universe, karma, whatever you believe in, caused them to move in next door to each other in the same condo. I don't know how
how's that happen? How's that possible?
That's why I said it made no sense to anybody, but it happened. And one of them loved dogs, one of them hated dogs. Their 2 boyfriends didn't get along. It was complete and utter insanity, with them calling the poor security guards up hundreds of times a day to complain about each other. It was an absolute mess. HPD was involved, the security was involved, and it went on and on and on, and involved the judges and us representing the association. It was completely out of control because they both wanted to use the association as their ally and going after the other one, and it was.
So what happened? Did the association make them sell their apartments?
Eventually, if only they could do that. But eventually, yes, one of them, the ultimate solution really was one of them ultimately sold and moved, and that brought peace to the situation. But it was a nightmare.
On the other topic, there was. I don't know if I'm repeating this correctly, but there is some news going on lately talking about this association making the condo owners selling it for some reason. I'm not sure, but is that some of the things that you're dealing with, making the owners of these apartments selling it when you're not supposed to sell, or the price that you're not supposed to sell for?
Yeah, there is this what I call the death spiral, where if you are an owner and you get into some form of trouble, real or imagined, with the board, and they say, we don't hey, Marko, we think that your dog caused some problem in the association, bit someone, whatever, we're going to give you, a $200 fine. And then you say, well, wait a minute, that's not right. I want to contest this, and then they have a lawyer write you a letter. Then the lawyer writes you a letter, and then they say, now we're going to charge you $200
for a lawyer.
Well, you wish. $200 for the fine and maybe $1,000 for the lawyer. And then you're like, well, wait, this is not right. This wasn't even. I've got a case currently where it wasn't the person's dog. It's a mistaken dog identity, believe it or not. They blamed one dog for something some other dog supposedly did. But anyway, they got the wrong people. And so then they start piling on these legal fees, and then when you go in to just pay your monthly maintenance fee, they try to take your monthly maintenance fee and say, oh, thank you, now you just paid for the lawyer and paid for the fine, and now you're behind us on the maintenance fees. Mm-hmm. And then you as the owner obviously would feel, hey, that's not fair, that's not right. And then, oh, you're still fighting? Now we're going to pile on more maintenance fees, and it becomes this really just a really sticky situation where they keep on piling on more fees, more fines, and building up this large debt, which might be based on something that's completely bogus. And then they say, well, now you're a couple $1,000s behind. Now we're going to go after you and start liening your house. And it has happened to people where they wind up losing their homes over what looks like to be really trivial and petty and stupid things, and it does happen. So
how you protect yourself? If you're a business, if you're a homeowner, how do you protect yourself?
Well, a good thing to do if the amount is very low, and I know it's might be easy to say because $200 or $500 is a lot of money to a lot of people, but oftentimes the best thing you can do is simply pay it up front. And then say, look, I want to talk to you board members at the board meeting, or I want to mediate with you. And there's a lot of places you can go in town, like the Mediation Center of the Pacific or Dispute Prevention and Resolution, where you can sit down with the board and mediate whatever your disputes are. And I think that is always a very, very logical step to take.
So instead of incurring all these additional fees and charges, you took care of that up front, and then you go after them.
Correct.
If you think you're wrongly accused or whatever.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So I guess what else? Give me some other stuff. Give me something what you're seeing currently. Maybe something that you're currently working on. And then let's try to coach the people, and maybe if they're listening and they have some of the issues, maybe they can protect themselves.
Well, on the issue of what we were talking about earlier, we recently had a case in which, again, we won't name the project, but basically we got an award against a board member for $5.8 million and change because he decided to take sole control of a project. So if you're in a condo and someone on the board says, don't worry, I'll assume complete control of this project, it ought to be a red flag. If you put things out for bid and someone insists upon a higher price bid, sometimes it's worth it to pay for a higher proposal, but quite often it is not. a lot of these projects that you're putting out to bid, you will have specs written up, specifications of, hey, we want 2 layers of paint or whatever it is, and then someone comes in higher, and you've got a board member who is hot to trot to make sure that this higher bidder goes in. That really doesn't make any sense, because paint is paint, pipes are often pipes, and if you're a board member or an owner, ought to be looking at, why is the board going with a higher priced contractor? That is quite often a red flag that doesn't make a lot of sense normally. So I think that's something very important to look at is, as the old adage goes, follow the money. Why would someone rationally say, I want to spend $1 million more for this paint job than the other bids? It might be because there's something wrong and something that you don't know. And again, there might be times where you should go with a higher price bidder, like the other guys aren't qualified or whatever, but it's
that's
something
why you
to
ask
look
for
at.
3 bids, right? So you can have something to compare.
Yeah, and you make sure that they're all apples to apples and doing the same thing and doing the work that an expert recommends to make sure that you don't get ripped off. So I think that's something that's really really important.
Because eventually it does affect your maintenance fee.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. And I think the other thing too is, if you've got an especially lawsuit happy board, there's something wrong with your building, and quite often it'll be a situation where a board president, I can give you a prototype of what to look for, like the FBI profile, but basically a board president that has a lot of time on their hands insists upon picking out a particular people to work for the project. We had one case recently where one building, which again will go nameless, this one board president in a span of like 3 months decided to sue a guy for smoking in his own apartment, even though it was not a smoke-free building, and the guy was just smoking in his own apartment. The board president didn't like it, so he sued him. He sued another owner for supposedly having unregistered dogs. How did he know that? Well, because he had the window washing company go up there with cameras and take pictures of the dogs inside people's apartments in a sort of peeping Tom type situation. As far as I was concerned, it was quite bizarre. And then he sued a lady for renovating her apartment, even though the renovations, A, weren't performed by her, B, the association used to own the apartment, and C, the renovations were approved 11 years ago by 2 or 3 owners before that. And this is all in the span of a few months where one out-of-control board president started all this litigation. It all failed. It was a huge waste of time and money for everybody involved. But that's what happened if you have a very strong president who's misguided, or everyone else on the board just sits there and lets him get away with it. It's not good. And these things are supposed to be democracies for a reason. They don't just elect one person.
It's not a dictatorship.
It's not, allegedly, in theory, it's not supposed to be. But
it happens.
Sometimes that's how it works out. Yeah. And so there are a lot of, you asked me earlier about common sense. There are certain things that make a lot of common sense about the condo law until you look at how it plays out in real life, and then it, can have very bad consequences. But I don't know if you're interested in that stuff, but there's a lot of stuff that gets
Well, Terry, why don't we take our last break for today? Today's guest is Terry Revere. Terry is the owner of Revere and Associates. You can find him online, revereandassociates.com. Civil litigation, all kind of good stuff. I wish we can talk about details, because some of this stuff you really cannot talk, because people are going to recognize themselves, and then we don't want to turn it to be sued, because who knows what.
Well, I'm sure that last building does recognize themselves.
Because it's very unique. I don't know how many buildings run around like that and sue people for that particular things. But anyway, Terry, why don't we take a last break? My name is Marko Mijuskovic. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
760 KGU.
Part of the Wall Street Business Network.
Hey, sweetie, what's going on?
Well, honey, I have some news.
Okay, what?
All that training paid off. I got the job.
Oh, I knew you would get it. So when do you start?
When you donate stuff to Goodwill, you help provide job training for people right here in your community. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
We all want to retire someday, but how will you afford it? Marko Mijuskovic here, financial advisor for Wealth Strategy Partners. Times are tough, but nothing brings comfort and security like having a financial strategy. Some financial strategies can be complicated. All those numbers and percentage points. It makes your head spin. But that's why I created an easier to understand system called Retirement Income Timeline. Let me analyze your situation using my Retirement Income Timeline, and I'll show you how you may be able to turn your money worries of today into a stress-free retirement of tomorrow. It's easy. Just call me and I'll assist you. Get your personal retirement income timeline by me, Marko Mijuskovic, today. Call 695-2102, 695-2102.
Registered representative and financial advisor of Park Avenue Securities, LLC, abbreviated PAS, 7 Hanover Square, New York, 10004. Securities products or services and advisory services are offered through PAS, a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. 888-600-4667. PAS is a member FINRA SIPC.
Achieving personal financial success can be complicated. Marko Mijuskovic can make it simpler. That's something very good to know in a world where the wrong financial decisions can be all too costly. Marko Mijuskovic, Vice President of Wealth Strategy Partners, has been helping people in Hawaii successfully organize and plan their finances for years. Marko uses an holistic approach to help you balance your current financial obligations as well as your future concerns. And he does this while keeping things simple. Organizing your finances is serious business, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Find out how Marko can help you make smart, informed decisions about your financial future. Call him and schedule your complimentary session and tell him your story. He's there to listen. The toll-free number to call is 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102. 877-695-2102. Marko Mijuskovic. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource with financial advisor Marko Mijuskovic. If you'd like to speak to Marko, either on the air or after the show, call toll-free from Oahu and the outer islands, 877-695-2102. That's 877-695-2102.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource. My name is Marko Mijuskovic, Senior Partner at Wealth Strategy Partners, also Certified Exit Planner. You're listening to Hawaii Money Resource every Wednesday night, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can also find all of our podcasts currently at businessexitplanninghawaii.com. HawaiiMoneyResource.com is it's ongoing, it's outgoing, it's out for a moment for a facelift. Doing a little facelift right now, improving and enhancing. Today's guest is Terry Revere. Terry is the attorney at law at Revere and Associates, RevereandAssociates.com. A lot of good stories. Terry's firm is specializing in civil litigation and mostly in a real estate and condominium and condominium associations world, representing both sides, right? It all depends on the case. Terry, why you do what you do? Let me ask you this on the end, just quickly, because we have a few minutes left before wrapping up today's show. What gets you going?
Well, I think what gets me going is, sometimes people will come in and, they'll be devastated because a lot of these condominium disputes, these people are being attacked in their own homes. And if you're being attacked in your own home, you don't have anywhere to retreat to. So if you're at work and your boss is a jerk, you can at least say, I'm going home. Or if you're being harassed out in a park, well, leave that park or restaurant, bar, or whatever. But when people get attacked in their own homes, they don't have anywhere to go. And when it happens unfairly, then it naturally, gets your blood flowing and then you start peeling back the layers of the onion and saying, oh, that's why they're going after this owner. It's because this guy spoke out about whatever, the painting contract. And that's why suddenly, all of a sudden, their dog or
He's
their
on a
kid
blacklist.
becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so that, and like I said, in the past, nobody in town would be representing owners. So I thought that there was a need that, a niche that needed to be filled.
People need a help and people need a protection. Terry, we need to wrap up today's show. We're approaching the end. Thank you so much for being guest at Hawaii Money Resource.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Perfect. Terry Revere and Associates, attorney at law firm. You can find him online, revereandassociates.com. My name is Marko Mijuskovic. Another great show, Hawaii Money Resource, every Wednesday night, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. A lot of good stuff that you can hear. If you missed today's show by any chance, the podcast will be up shortly. So look us up at businessexitplanninghawaii.com, and soon we'll be back online again with hawaiimoneyresource.com. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The Living Balance Sheet and the Living Balance Sheet logo are registered service marks of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, New York, New York. The graphics and text used herein are the exclusive property of Guardian and protected under U.S. and international copyright laws. Copyright 2005 to 2011. The Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. This show is for informational purposes only. Individual risk tolerance and investment objectives must be reviewed prior to making any specific recommendations. Marko Mijuskovic is a registered representative and financial advisor for Park Avenue Securities, LLC, 7 Hanover Square, New York, New York, 10004. Securities products, services, and advisory services are offered through Park Avenue Securities, a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor. 888-600-4667. Financial representative, the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, New York, New York. Park Avenue Securities is an indirect, wholly owned subsidiary of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. Wealth Strategy Partners is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Park Avenue Securities or the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America. Park Avenue Securities is a member FINRA SIPC.